What do I know?
Exactly. Right. Now, the other thing I just wanted to clear up or speak about is where we are at the moment in what we're discussing. And I want to put it in the right context because I think that we all have some stories that we could share. And I also don't want to be simply beating up one of the countries to the south of us. But I do want to address what we're talking about here. And so we're in Cayman.
Right.
We have been talking about it in Cayman. For those who might not have been able to stay with us since Monday, I brought up the Cayman Islands because currently they are facing an immigration catastrophe or demographic catastrophe. The shows prior to this one, I showed that the data shows that Bermuda is facing a demographic extinction almost in terms of birth rates and death rates.
Yes.
Right. So if you take the Bermudian birth rate versus death rate, we are not making enough Bermudians. So that's one thing. The number of Bermudians dying are well exceeding the number of Bermudians born. And so you just keep playing that out. You see how that peters out. And we also have an emigration issue where Bermudians are leaving Bermuda for a better quality of life. So between the birth rates, we aren't creating new Bermudians, and we're not even retaining all the Bermudians who are here.
True.
Because the quality of life for them isn't worth, in their mind, putting up with Bermuda.
You know, I'm most interested in the census. The census is coming up this year.
Yep.
It's going to be very interesting with the answers we're going to receive from that. So I'm going to ask everyone really participate, because if any time there was a census, I mean, they're all important, but in particular this one, because it charts our future and it tells us from where we come from.
Exactly. And so Cayman, the disparity in employment is one thing, but they are concerned about loss of identity and culture as well.
Yeah.
The reason I raise it is because they are trying to fix something now. We spoke about prevention being better than cure.
That was brilliant. Yeah.
I got to find the person who said it.
Yeah, but that's brilliant.
No,
really.
well, let me just say it's real, right?
Yes, it is.
And I think part of, at least, even when I have heard people whose politics I don't share,
right,
threaten Bermudians with, "Hey, you want to go back to farming and fishing?" Right, and that economic threat psychologically made us believe in Bermuda Incorporated, Bermuda Inc.
Yes.
Right? And so a lot of times, innately, deeply, we will suppress something we feel culturally or nationally or even as a resident
right,
in favor of business because we believe we need business to keep the country going.
Yeah.
And so let's go for it. And Cayman, I think, is the clear example of going for business, not Caymanian business.
Yes.
Going for prosperity, not Caymanian prosperity.
Yes.
Right? And so the most comfortable, the highest paid, the people who are able to move easiest in Cayman are not the Caymanians.
Right.
Yeah? So
Sure.
I think one of the things is that we no longer need to be bullied or frightened by, you want to go back to fishing and farming? That kind of emotional manipulation when the hardcore data shows us Cayman. So now that we've taken emotion out of it, okay, now that we see what capitalism did in another small country that was unrestrained or unregulated, now we see what the people who were given free reign did.
Yes.
It's a real life example. That's why I'm still in it. We're going to be in it again today.
Okay.
Because we could make these same speeches, but they're making these after the horse has bolted.
Yeah.
We need not let the horse bolt.
Yes.
That's where we are right now. Right? We need not. And then there's one thing that I also want to say. I thought it may come up later, but I feel led to say it now. the thing that struck me, I didn't have a good evening, Monday evening after we left here.
No.
No. And I didn't because I thought about being in Cayman. I thought about what if I was who I am in Bermuda now. It's a different environment, so I doubt I would have become this Corey.
Right.
But I tried to picture me being in Cayman, being this Corey.
Yes.
I'd be locked up. That's number one.
Right.
But without a history of an 81 general strike, they don't have a Oddie Simmons. They don't have an E.F. Gordon. They don't have a Paulu Roosevelt Brown. They don't have a Dame Lewis. So who is their cultural champion? And let me just say, all those names that I talked about in Bermuda were black.
Yes.
This is the part that really kept me up. The Caymanian MPs and ministers were not talking racially.
Yes.
Culturally.
Yes.
Caymanians.
Yes. It's true.
There was no issue. And trust me, when we read today, it's even the examples, the Sam, the person who tried 70 jobs and had a family and was considering suicide, they never said his race. Kylie, the girl who got married and then wanted to come back, and they said, you probably go back and then come back to Cayman.
Right.
We never knew her race.
Yeah, true.
Being Caymanian.
Yeah.
That's what you're hearing. And so we're going to get into something maybe tomorrow, but that shows even the Bermudian version of that.
Yes.
Okay. But for the moment, I do want to go back to the House of Parliament in Cayman because two things. One, it's a valuable lesson that we cannot afford not to learn. And two, the reason I was bothered was because these speeches are being made when the horse has bolted the stable. Got me?
Yes.
The horse is gone. And now they're trying to get the horse back, right? And they're trying to say, and we're going to take good care of the horse this time.
You know what I find interesting is how did they get to that point? It had to be something that shook what you said, the cradle. You understand? For them to get to a point where, wait 1 minute, we've been on this course, but we need to change course and do something about it.
Should I was going to wait to do that later.
Okay.
But no, seriously. About 4 minutes ago, I thought about because I was talking myself right? To the point, and I was like, I'm supposed to say this later on.
Right.
So I drew back. Now you've brought it up. I'm like, maybe this is just the time to say it.
Okay, cool.
This is just my analysis, people.
Okay.
So if anybody from Cayman happens to be streaming because you heard we've been into your stuff, you're going to hear it. We are staying in it. But this is just my analysis. Okay? In case you're wondering, I have a little bit of political qualification and a little bit of political experience.
Yes.
So, okay? But I'm going to read, in case they are listening, from an article, the 8th of November, 2023. It's in the Cayman Compass newspaper. Well, online.
Right.
And the article, this is November 2023. When did I say this was?
November 2023.
Headline, population analysis, Caymans now outnumbered on island. And so the first paragraph, for the first time in recorded history, Caymanians find themselves outnumbered in their homeland, with a total population topping 83,000. Data from the Cayman Islands Labor Force Survey Report Spring 2023, which we read out here on the show, reveals that expatriates now make up 53.5% of the total population. Meanwhile, and listen to this sentence, I'm going to break this sentence right down.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Caymanians account for 46.5% of the population. Pause. Okay? 53.5 and 46.5. Okay? That's your Caymanian, non-Caymanian. Does it matter to you, really? I'm very curious. About Cayman, not Bermuda. I'm just for where we are. I'm going to ask you about Bermuda, but at the moment, Cayman.
Okay.
53.5%
Yes.
non-Caymanian.
Yes.
46.5 Caymanian. However, only 30.6 are born Caymanian. Does born Caymanian or just Caymanian matter to you?
Yes, it matters to me.
Okay, well then, only 30.6% 100% of the Caymanian population is Caymanian by birth.
So that means out of the 46.5%, only 30?
No. Yes, sorry. Yes. But what I'm saying is, no, it would be a higher percent, maybe, I don't know, 80% of the Caymanian population was born in Cayman, but of the whole population, only 30.6.
Yeah, that's worrying.
So, you wanted to know how we got here.
Yeah.
This is my analysis. Please, people, just my simple analysis.
Yeah.
Okay. For 3 decades, this is the sentence. I'll let you know when it's me talking. Okay.
Okay.
For 3 decades, the expatriate population in the Cayman Islands has risen steadily. However, the interval from 2021 to 2022 marked a pivotal moment. During this year, the expatriate count surged by 30%. Over the same period, the Caymanian population increased by less than 2%, meaning for about every 2 additional Caymanians, 30 expatriates moved to the jurisdiction. My analysis?
Yeah.
They panicked after COVID. And I mean full-on panic.
Right.
Like, listen to all the naysayers. Listen to international business about economic contraction.
Yes.
Thinking about no money in the country, no Caymanian money that Caymanians are spending to build a house or buy a boat and so they opened the floodgates in 2021 because they're talking about from 2021 to 2022 in that year. So they're not all of 2021 and all of 2022.
Yes.
In that year.
I remember I did read the Compass around that time, and there was a scramble for business. Yeah. And COVID did bring it about. Big panic.
Well, because it's 2021, right? And their big issue is 2021 to 2024.
Yes.
So up until 2021, they were imbalanced, but they were still, like, in their culture, it all fit.
Yes.
They, at the end of by 2023, realized, OSHA. 2025, a white paper. 2026, legislation. Right?
But during COVID, Caymanians, they were really suffering.
Well, as I kept reading, I mean, so I can tell you about COVID time. I was doing some nerdy stuff then, sure. For sure, I can tell you about that. But I think the reaction to that, right, of chasing money,
yes,
rather than money for the country or for the people, I think that's probably what brought this massive population surge. And to drive the point home, part of the issue is when they're talking about millennials, right? So millennials are who you want in your workforce.
Yes.
It says they are defined as individuals aged 27 to 42, okay? Now, according to their 2022 report, more than half of their workforce are millennials.
Okay, yes.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Right? They're not an aging workforce.
Yes.
They're not changing the retirement age up to 70, right? Their millennials are the biggest portion of their workforce.
Yes.
Now, of the millennials, ready for this?
Yeah.
Expatriates are 75%. So they're millennial, but are they going to live there? Are they going to retire there? Are they making money to take back to Canada, England, UK, US, wherever they're going? It's even more noteworthy when it says that those people should be reaching their peak earning years. What they found is that, on average, Caymanians earn more than expatriates. According to the survey, a higher proportion of Caymanians, 74.4%, earned X per month compared to permanent residents at 68% and non-Caymanians at 56.2%. So let me just say that again. I'm about to read this salary. Okay? This is a monthly salary that they think is very good. And that Caymanians earn this amount or more, 74% of them. Whereas the permanent residents, only 68% earn that much. And of the non-Caymanians, so you can see the non-Caymanians there are working in the fields that don't earn, right? 56%. The monthly salary was 2,400 Caymanian dollars. 2,000.
That's it?
When exploring specific sectors, a more nuanced disparity emerges. Data from Cayman Islands statistics points to an income ceiling for Caymanians in industries that begin at average salaries over $51,000. For instance, in the professional, scientific, and technical sector, which the average salary is $79,000. Okay, in the professional, scientific, and technical, your lawyer, your doctor, your engineer, right?
Okay.
79,000 is the average. Caymanians earn 20% less than the non-Caymanian. In financial and insurance, it's 39% difference, the disparity. And Caymanians make up 70% of that workforce. So they are literally, I could go on to some more stuff on here. Okay. But I want to just get back to the house. So what I'm getting at is, it's not, I understand my perspective is because I'm black. Mm-hmm. A lot of our stuff we believe and is racial.
Yes.
Right? That's where I haven't given you one race of anybody in Cayman. And they aren't talking about race. Okay? Wow. Those articles, everything I've read doesn't separate black and white Caymanians. You know?
Okay.
And my point is, we have the luxury. Let me repeat that. We have a luxury. Oh, let me ask you. Do you believe? No, not you, Willie. Please, not you. I'll repeat, everybody. I'm not asking Willie for Willie's opinion. I'm asking Willie for the average Bermudian opinion.
Right.
The average black Bermudian opinion. Do you think white Bermudians get discriminated against in international business because they're Bermudian?
No.
You don't?
No, I don't.
I'm going to read you something.
Okay.
This is from a white Bermudian. Ready?
Okay.
A recent interaction with a recruiter illuminated this issue starkly. This is about the Bermudian thing.
Okay.
At the end of our conversation, he asked, and by the way, this is a white woman.
Okay.
He asked, "How did you find yourself in Bermuda?" I responded, "I'm Bermudian." His surprise was palpable, and he then commended me for obtaining my education and entering the industry as if I were an anomaly for a Bermudian. "Good for you for getting your education and finding your way into the industry," he said. This encounter presented a choice for me, and I opted to, in quotes, fill in some of his gaps about Bermuda and our people, highlighting that Bermudians, in fact, are typically highly educated, often holding tertiary degrees. This experience left me reflecting on the deeper implications, as his comment clearly demonstrated. A company seeking top talent in Bermuda chose a recruiter who evidently lacked basic knowledge about our island and its people. This bias pervades many aspects of life here, and if such a statement can be made to a Bermudian in 2023, despite all the available data and evidence about the level of education in Bermuda, it boldly signifies how far we are from making real progress in overcoming this particular form of bias.
That's interesting.
It sure is. I felt the average. Okay.
Wow.
Exactly. I have some. We're not going back to that, right? We're staying in Cayman, but I want you to see, and there's some other stuff that comes out of Bermuda.
Okay.
Okay, but I want to put this fight that Cayman's in context. Right? It's not a racial fight. It's not a class fight.
Right.
And let me tell you, this is a government that has 13 million, is it? In scholarships right now for their children. For their young people, I should say. And those scholarships require them to return to work. If you consider what the economy must be like there, if they didn't do that, then would enough people go away and get the degrees? Is enough economic activity for banks to lend people money against their house or whatever to educate their children? Right now, this is what the minister said. We currently have 1,800 students enrolled in tertiary education on government scholarships as of fall 2025. 1,800. Okay?
But that, That indicates that there is a need for specialized education, number one, because there are posts that they could take up. I commend them for 1,800?
1,800 students
1,800?
on scholarship.
1,800.
That tells you so I'm going all out of order here. Let me just, man, okay, I'll just say this, and then I'm going to go back to where we were.
Okay, I've got something to say.
Well, you go first.
Well, I did a little sneak thing late last night.
Don't tell me about your sneaky late night moves. Are you crazy? You forget what show this is?
No, see, you're taking it around the band again.
I did something sneaky late last night.
And it comes to research.
Okay. If you would have said I researched late last night.
Well, I didn't say that. You wouldn't let me finish. Anyway, I found out on comparison, Bermuda government gave out 71
scholarships.
I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, AI is wrong.
I think you're right. 71. There you go. 1,800.
1,800.
But here's the deal.
Right.
71. 1,800. This is the deal. What I think, both the actual salaries that they are talking about, the fact that the government is providing 1,800 scholarships.
Yes.
There's in Cayman appears to be a gulf between private and public sector.
Yes.
A real gulf. And here we ought to be proud of the fact that, as an example, ABIC, for whatever they said about work permits, said they have provided over 700 scholarships in 40 years.
Okay.
That's a lot of scholarship.
It's true.
And if you're taking financial degree, the top place you could work would be here.
That's true.
Unless you want to be in investments in Wall Street or some of those banks. But really here, which brings me to another point I was supposed to make later on. Really, maybe I should just go, let's do all over the place. I don't care, right? Let's just go for it. Because what I was going to ask is, where's the signature school where ABIC, ABER, Builtair, BDA, and those companies get together and create a curriculum that if they wanted an underwriter, an actuary.
Yes.
So in law, the late Charles Volcrossen once, my father, we three had lunch. My father, anybody he thought would inspire me. I don't know how he did it, but he got him to agree to spend some time with me or give me some advice, right? So Volcrossen, we were at this lunch. I still remember I had Black and Cajun Fish at the Triangle Club in the alley. Remember, there used to be a members club in there?
Yes.
You were in there. And I was asking what I should be doing before I became a lawyer or started law. And he said, everything but law. And I said, huh? And he said, let me tell you a story.
Yes.
And Mr. Volcrossen had worked construction every summer while he was studying law.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he'd been called, say, maybe 10 years. And there was a construction case. And he was representing the homeowner, and it was against a construction company about some shoddy work or it's a breach of contract or something.
Right.
And Volcrossen said that when he cross-examined the witness spoke about how he constructed the wall, assuming nobody else in the room would know any better. But because of him working construction all summers, he knew. So he said, get as much varied experience as possible.
Makes sense.
Because law is law, but you need the world view, the narrative, and all of that stuff in order to be a good lawyer.
Yeah.
So I'm saying the experience part and come back, I think that there's a big disconnect between public and private sector in Cayman, which means the public sector has to earn the money by giving out the work permits to get those fees from payroll tax or whatever it is in order to do the things, take care of the people.
Yeah.
So it's weird. So I want to go back. We were sorry.
One question.
Sure.
Cayman, do they have a college or university?
Not that I could. University, no. Not that I can tell.
Okay.
Sorry. They did have a what's it called? Somebody did. Yes. It's CIC. If you give me, I'll find it before the end of the show.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking fast.
Yep. If anybody wants to donate a notepad and pen for me, at least I can write these things down so I can answer them for them at the end, that'd be great. Just joking. Oh, good. Oh, good, mate. So the Cayman Guy then talks about the investment
Right.
that you can make and then get residency.
Okay.
Okay. And so at the moment we're listening to Joseph Hugh. He's the leader of the opposition. Remember, he got a little political, right? A little political at a time when they're trying to be national.
Yes.
So he continues. Unless I'm wrong, under these amendments, a person with a $2 million investment may, after 10 years, obtain permanent residency equivalent to in the effect to Caymanian permanence, followed then by a pathway to British Overseas Territory citizenship. Let me repeat that. He's saying, make a $2 million investment, then after 10 years, you can get permanent residency. In Bermuda, you got permanent residency in like a week.
Wow.
And your whole family for the 2.5. Trust me, what they're doing here is the physical residency requirements remain unclear, and the long-term demographic, political, and economic impacts have not been transparently assessed. But, Mr. Speaker, what message does it send to all people? That money carries more weight than decades of service? That those who built this country through labor, sacrifice, and community are less valued than those who can purchase entry? This policy risks creating a two-tiered society, one for the globally mobile wealthy and one for everyone else. It reminds me of a case I hope the government will help me out with. I am already speaking to some of the civil servants about a young lady who grew up in Cayman, moved here as a baby, and when she approached 18, the gentleman she thought was her biological father had to do the paternity test, and it came back negative.
Oh, my.
You following what's happening?
Yes, I see that.
Okay. Notwithstanding that, when the young lady was younger, she had to have a bone marrow transplant, and perhaps that could have thrown off the testing. Needless to say, this is the only home she knows. She had 12 O-level passes, 11 at grade 1, and 1 at grade 2. She recently received the Department of Education Services, Cayman Islands government congratulations for the John Gray High School's 2025 Regional CSEC Merit Scholar. Mr. Speaker, she is in school in Jamaica, and her father will be going to court next week for her overstaying. If she had $2 million, it wouldn't be an issue. You see that? Mr. Speaker, when it comes to those of independent means, let us speak plainly. These residency by investment provisions are revenue mechanisms. They are quid pro quo arrangements, and while some beneficiaries may truly wish to make Cayman their home, many do not. They are tax mobile, jurisdiction mobile, and globally unrooted. Yet, this bill accelerates their path to permanence, while long-serving residents, including those married to Caymanians, face ever-narrowing routes to belonging. Mr. Speaker, he ends with this. I'm going to read his last issue. Mr. Speaker, immigration reform in this country should not only be efficient, but lawful, fair, and genuinely Caymanian in its priorities. Again, I want to support this bill. However, I'm afraid that many aspects of it will not stand up to legal scrutiny. I'm afraid some aspects of the bill will have a negative effect on Caymanian families and Caymanian small and micro businesses. So, Mr. Speaker, I will listen intently to other members and their contributions and look forward to the response from the Honorable Minister at the end of it all. Mr. Speaker, I thank you, and may God bless these 3 Cayman Islands. Well, this next one, really, I want to deal with is a gentleman, Seymour. And can you see the highlights here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so MP Seymour, Minister Seymour, I'm going to try to read quickly because I'm not reading this speech in its entirety, but my word, I wish I could. I really, really wish I could. Sorry, really, this thing, paper board on your levels. Okay, and he's gonna say some startling things.
Okay.
Feel free to interrupt me.
Oh, got a license.
You do.
Okay.
Because really, it's worth it.
Right.
That I don't just read. It's worth it that you react. It's worth it that the listeners understand the context that's going on.
Yes.
And again, I'm going to keep stressing.
Yeah.
prevention is better than cure, and that we are not where Cayman is. Let me also just lay a marker. It only took Cayman 3 years to find out where they were. The period 2021 to 2024 did the damage. In 1 year, 2021 to 2022, the number of approved permanent residency and work went up 30%. Now, remember, we are sitting in February 2026, but the last jobs information we have is 2024.
Yes.
And at that point, Bermudians only got 18 and foreigners got 560. Last year, when those numbers come out, if, let's say, no Bermudians got jobs and 1,100 foreigners, you see the path that came in. This is why I'm doing this.
Yes.
Right? So all of these speeches are trying to cure something that we can still prevent.
Yes.
Okay. This is Mr. Can I just say something here? When I started reading this, if any of my family members are listed on the Wilkinson side anyway, it took me by surprise. Like when I first, because your eyes, eyes sometimes take a minute. So I looked down, and this is Mr. Dwayne Seymour.
Okay.
And recently I went to the homegoing service of Danny Seymour, my cousin.
Yes.
And so, but I said, whoa, got you. Okay, so Dwayne Seymour.
Okay.
I could skip this first part, but he's addressing everybody in the house, and he talks to all the colleagues, whether listening by television or radio, YouTube or Facebook. You heard the first format? What was that?
Television. Yeah.
Take a guess which parliament is the oldest in the Commonwealth outside of House of Commons.
Bermuda is another world.
And so why don't we have cameras in part? Okay, sorry. Don't worry. We'll move on. Everyone, when I told Willie I had read a speech, I had said to Willie, he's forgotten, but I'm going to tell you all now. Because some of you think I beat him up, sorry.
Yes.
I think I big him up. I said to Willie, I read a speech that while the person is not Bermudian, I have no idea what this person looks like, stands for, or anything else. In my mind, I've heard a speech that has some sprinkles of you in it, Willie. If Willie was an MP, I'd say Willie would be saying a lot of this. Now, at the end of it, Willie, I'm just curious to see how you feel about that.
You're looking for a reaction.
No. I'm just saying, as I was reading it,
right,
I kind of pictured if you were an MP, I think you'd be saying this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Now, if I'm wrong, and you at the end of this, you go, no, I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have, right? So, this fellow, I find him to. Anyway, I'll get into it.
Sure.
Mr. Speaker, I believe this is probably my first speech in opposition, as I've always been on the government side when having to do so. I don't think it's dangerous to have me on my feet. Nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, I am here representing the good people of Bodden Town East and the entire Cayman Islands. I am committed, Mr. Speaker, to continue being the voice of the voiceless and the face of the faceless. Without my Bodden Town East constituents, my spoke wouldn't have been possible today. I pray that my contribution is more helpful than hurtful. I was the... You want to say something?
You're on track.
So far, did that sound like it?
That sounds like me. Yeah.
Thank you. I was the former minister who put out the white paper, and as the current honorable minister rightly said, much of what's in this, some 80%, was there when he got there. But there is a reason you put out a white paper: to outline official policy, propose legislation, seek debate and input looking to solve complex problems. He then goes on, skip this part. He talks about Guyana and China and Vietnam, and that Guyana is the only country in the world that has no food security. It can feed itself, but still needs 14,000 work permits. China has 845,000 work permits, and Vietnam has 100,000 work permits. So he's making a point that even sustainable countries still need foreign workers. I think we can all agree on these thought-provoking but true words. And I must state, Mr. Speaker, I am not in the business of hate. We can be hateful, or we can be grateful. No, I say it's for all of us to be responsible, even through our own dislikes or abominate attitude when we are representing this country. This is not 50 years ago with no internet. Now, we have a machinery that moves faster than wildfires and can destroy all that we built in a second. I am sure we want to build on what we have started and to always ensure that Caymanians benefit in the most meaningful way from what we create. We can't rule with hate. Transient workers are people we need. Hatred brings all the things that you dream would never happen. And I definitely agree. We need to slow it down in all areas, but we need to fully understand and study what to slow it down means. I'm skipping, and then he talks about Jamaica and the Treaty of Jamaica and Cayman. But he then gives the public thanks to the government who responded to the Jamaican crisis caused by a hurricane that didn't want to believe, named Melissa. You responded quickly, bearing great gifts, and the world saw the display of leadership from an honorable premier from this little tiny speck of a dot, who practiced what we preach from the Bible in Mark 12:31, and the commandment, love your neighbor as yourself, which is the second of two of the greatest commandments as it comes to directly after loving God with all your being. Mr. Speaker, some would suggest not to trust us as politicians. Politicians are the same all over. Nikita Khrushchev said, in quotes, they promise to build a bridge even where there's no river. And just like the wolf that told a flock of sheep, if he got elected, he would become a vegetarian too. Yes, these sentiments are out there, but we need to do our best to still ride on the tide of that good old Caymanian politics, where we always try to be true and deliver for our people. Mr. Speaker, this leads me to speak about our dying culture and heritage that needs a fighting chance. Our forefathers must be turning over in their graves to know the great relationships we have forged with many visitors, transient workers, their children who attended the same schools, and transient workers who came here to help build this country and care for our children, and the great relationships we still hold with them. And oh, how things have changed, where it appears like it's them against us, and the appearance that a professional transient worker can come here and retire in a short period, while our own Caymanian professionals have to work like a dog until they're dragging. Mr. Speaker, before I go any further, I ask, what is the real white elephant in the room? Because somehow, only some, Mr. Speaker, some of our people, our own Caymanians, think that if we eradicated every foreigner, Cayman would be just fine, like the good old days. That very same comment, Mr. Speaker, good old days, is causing some of our problems. Well, yes, they were good days, and you and I love them. They're never coming back. My friends, they are not. The mosquitoes, the smoke pots, the outside toilets are not coming back, and not many of us would want it, and with every step of progress, there is the possible eradication of one's culture. But who is to blame for this, Mr. Speaker? We have to accept some responsibility and take some blame as we control the movements of people in this country. But we have some mentalities where we dislike each other too much. We can't dislike each other and then expect to work with each other for the good of this country. We need to start practicing loving our own people first before we can fix our own problems. Speak to staff and see where the most miserable human resources managers are from, right here. Speak to staff and ask them which human resources managers try to elevate them in the company. Foreigners. Speak to staff and see who are more likely to try kissing up to their foreign bosses to receive big bonuses at the end of the year. Is it our own people, I ask? Mr. Speaker, yes, we do have a culture that has been set by those bad-intentioned persons who come here with one thing on their minds, to make a bunch of money, retire early, bragging to the world. Mr. Speaker, many of our managers fall right in the trap because they are scared to lose their bonus or sometimes jobs and continue being nice employees following Massa's plan. Well, it didn't say it, but I'm going to leave it to you. You do it. You do your thing today, Willie. Too many Caymanians are still sitting on the porch, and we expect them to come in here and pound the heavy maul, not even a hammer, a maul, and everyone else is a problem besides us. We have displayed some irresponsible behavior towards each other, and we should be practicing 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up. We have to all work together for the benefit of all of us Caymanians. If it's about us growing too fast as a country, I think we're all on the same page. What are the effects of its slowing? Have we done a study? Will this kill Caymanians in the rental business market and then turn them towards financial assistance needs? Have we forgotten the pandemic, Mr. Speaker? Working from home, working from far, working from anywhere. Do they need to come here is the question. Are we repeating the Honorable Sir Lyndon Oscar Pinley's mistakes? Bahamas.
Yes, I got you.
Okay. What people will be bold enough to say to me, they will not to you. That's all like you, really? Mr. Speaker, they're going to tell me. They ain't going to tell you. But they tell me. I can hear Billy one time.
Mercy.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Billy.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. What people will be bold enough to say to me, they will not to you, because they feel some don't care. And there's an old adage, Mr. Speaker. No one cares to know what you know until they know that you care. Yes, we know. We have some companies who refuse to hire Caymanians, also refuse to hire additional staff, which is causing immense stress for our mothers in particular, who have to work late evenings, leaving their children unattended, all because it's impolite and you're not being a good team player by leaving on time at 5 o'clock as assigned. It is an immoral act to do so, and you are frowned upon. I heard about it. I see the pain and frustration on these parents' faces. In my belief, it is for some of these partners to collect as much end-of-year bonus as possible. If that's not correct, they need to educate me on why. Then talks about the civil service. And I'll just say, he says, talk to staff. There are senior, older foreigners in place that won't move, and young Caymanians can't move up. He goes on and talks about growth a bit. He says, I believe government should switch the incentives away from investing in property to investing in people. The property market is going very well. It doesn't need any further government initiatives for growth. Cayman, listen to this, Billy.
Right.
And tell me this doesn't sound like a Billy. Cayman has done a great job of creating Caymanian employees. But to continue to thrive, our government needs to focus on creating Caymanian employers. You can't love the employee and hate the employer, because the most important thing you can give someone is a job. Caymanians who can create jobs for other Caymanians. Many talented Caymanians can create jobs but lack access to capital.
Yes.
Economic growth requires both labor and capital.
Yes.
Caymanians have the labor but don't have access to capital because banks don't lend to new businesses.
Yes.
The immigration reform should change the incentives away from investing in property to investing in people.
Yes.
Also, companies who employ Caymanians are the ones prioritized to get work permits or along those lines. Mr. Speaker, I ask the government, in whatever they do not do it with hate. Embrace prosperity, or we can reap poverty.
Yes.
I actually put this off on my status the other day. I remember an old African proverb whereby out of hatred for the cockroach, Mr. Speaker, the ants voted for the insecticide. You know what happened? Yes. They all died, including the houseflies who didn't even vote. It serves as a cautionary tale about how hatred clouds judgment, leading to choices with devastating unintended consequences for all members of the community, not just the intended target. Mr. Speaker, I believe it's not the needy in the world that's the problem, it's the greedy. Mr. Speaker, I have seen the problem that we have with Caymanians not working in certain areas en masse. I was involved in a scene where tourists who came to Cayman were quite disappointed they hadn't met a local. I had tourists at a hotel once who, upon hearing as a Caymanian, ran up to me and wanted to hear my accent, which I don't apologize for. I was alarmed at how they had been here for 5 days and hadn't met a local.
Wow.
And I proceeded in a jovial manner. Okay?
Wow.
They then take a break for lunch, and he comes back. Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, I had an experience at a local hotel, at the Kimpton, actually. I'm only reading this part because I want you to know this MP called the hotel. Like, he didn't say this just happened and it might have been something that's used on the floor of the house.
Right.
Right? He's now said the name of the hotel.
Yeah.
And quoting the Bible, I believe the guy is telling the truth. Okay? But keep listening. Experience, upon hearing I was a local Canadian, ran up to me and wanted to hear my accent. I was alarmed that they had been here for 5 days and didn't meet one local. They proceeded in a jovial manner, Mr. Speaker, to touch me to see if I was real. I kid you not. So I definitely understand we need to get this under control. Who are we to blame for that? 50 years ago, our forefathers worked in that industry. But when the banks came, everyone wanted to dress up in a necktie and pretty clothes. And our very parents didn't want us to work in those industries. Go be a lawyer or an accountant, they said. My good old friend, Mr. Deputy Premier, Tourism Minister, and my good old brother, the Minister of Culture, need to work together as they do now and build on what is in place, create programs, and find a way to ensure that persons arriving here meet a local, and not only at the airport for 10 seconds and a smile, but in their whereabouts on these lovely islands. Mr. Speaker, I want to recognize that in this Honorable Minister's presentation, he spoke about the story of Sam. Mr. Speaker, Sam is very real. I know a lot of Sams and Samanthas, but it was very impactful. I want to say, sorry, I'll leave that part out. He gets into the details of how a bill gets to Parliament, and I'm not sure Bermuda's the same way. But he talks about a bill comes to minister, goes to caucus agrees, and then it comes back. And he says, when we hear Canadians make mention of who we are building for, or too many people are here, we need to appreciate that we have grown faster than any other country in the world. This is not necessarily a bad problem, but it's still stressful for those who call Cayman home. Now, how do we do this? I don't fully know, Mr. Speaker, but our people are asking for us to slow things down. I agree with them wholeheartedly because we are losing grip as the majority of the minority, and it is worrying. If you have come here, please try to inculcate yourself in the local community, as staying here may very well depend on this social spirit. Some of our expats feel empowered and need to be put in check. I've seen that personally. I hope the LLCs are dead. I didn't even look to see what that was about. He then talks about people who sacrifice for their countries, Florence Nightingale, Tutu Bookman, and Ham Salomon. But he then goes down a bit further, and we'll just deal with this, because the man uses a ton of examples in his speech. Mr. Speaker, speaking about growth, which every country needs, as a subject matter about immigration, we need it, but we have to manage and monitor closely. We have to protect our people at all costs. Politics is so deeply emotional and personal, and my people are somewhat suffering. Mr. Speaker, not only do I have great friends and family on the government side, but the close proximity that I stand and sit in every day as a social butterfly, hearing the sad stories of families who are failing to feel the joy the Cayman dream once promised. A piece of the rock, a home, a car, a business, an opportunity, a safe place to eat, live, and worship, time for family, time for friends, love for neighbors as God prescribed. Let us not be fooled to think that we can't achieve this for our people, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, this immigration bill debate for me is quite different, because if we get this wrong, it affects everything right for Caymanians. Mr. Speaker, as I've always repeated, we are too small to fail. We are too small in size to fail our good people who are depending on us. They are listening right now. They want the joy, but at the same time, they depend on us to get the statistics, to do the research, and plow forward with opportunities for them. Point blank, let's cut the fat and ensure we have meaningful, direct programs to uplift and enrich our people. We have a good problem in more jobs than people. Let's ensure we win from our success and not watch the visitor come in and pluck the golden cherry and depart with a fattened calf. I want my piece of the cherry. I want my piece of the fattened calf. People, let us love each other more, work cohesively, and bind the resources and network for the good of our success. We need to be more so badly. Let's be happy for each other and compliment one another. Because no matter what laws or policies we approve, if we don't have unity in the Cayman Islands, we still fail big time. Mr. Speaker, I just want to say that bees hold a hidden wisdom. When a beehive loses its queen, the one life giver and the unifier of the intricate society, it faces a quiet catastrophe. The rhythm of the colony slows. No new eggs means no future. And within weeks, extinction looms. However, the bees don't fall into chaos. They don't wait for rescue. And instead, they act swiftly, intelligently, and instinctively. What follows is one of nature's most remarkable responses to crisis. It begins with an unexpected decision. From among the countless ordinary larvae, destined to become ordinary worker bees, a few are chosen. They aren't special, they weren't born different, but their destiny is about to change. These chosen few are fed something extraordinary, royal jelly, a potent, nutrient-rich secretion from specialized nurse bees. Is more than food. It's a signal, a biological switch. Fed exclusively on this substance, one larva's body begins to transform. It grows larger and stronger. Its lifespan extends nearly 20-fold. It will no longer serve. It will reign. The queen is not born. She is made. This isn't about superior genes. It's about nourishment, care, and environment. If humans could do the same, take any child, and with the right support, cultivate greatness, imagine the possibilities, Mr. Speaker. Crisis doesn't end life. It creates leaders. The larva's transformation doesn't save just her. It rescues the entire hive. As a new queen, she restores the colony order, fertility, and rhythm. A future once threatened is rebuilt, stronger and more resilient. A quiet lesson in resilience. In their silence, bees teach us when everything seems lost, what's needed isn't panic. It is vision, choice, compassion, and leadership. Their world reminds us that greatness isn't born, it is nurtured. That even in the darkest times, with the right support, someone ordinary can become extraordinary, because sometimes the most powerful leaders rise from the most uncertain moments. Mr. Speaker, 1 Corinthians 3:6. I planted the seed, Apollos watered it, but God made it grow. So neither he who plants nor he who waters is anything, but God, he makes things grow. Have faith continually. Keep God first place, and don't think it is you who is so mighty. The public is nervous, and Caymanians in particular are nervous, and are hopeful at the same time. They have always wanted policies and laws to seem to weigh in their favor, but not upsetting the apple cart to the point of destruction. We don't need any class action lawsuits.
Right.
Mr. Speaker, I intend to support what I started and pray that everyone recognizes that we all want the same thing. We want Caymanians to benefit from our success. If we are not doing that, then we may as well pack it up. We come here to this honorable parliament, Mr. Speaker, to make lives better for our Caymanians, for our constituents, and many of us do our best to do that. We need to ensure that we don't continuously do the things that are not working, to drill down, to reach our people, to ensure that things that are important to them, like the cost of living, are thought about very seriously and drill down deeply to try to make a difference for our people. Mr. Speaker, I will end my contribution at this time, turn it over to another bidden soul. I hope that my contribution was something worth the public's time in listening to and realizing that we are not here to hate anyone. We just want the best for Caymanians, and we want to benefit from any success that this country has. God bless the people of these Cayman Islands. God bless this Parliament. God bless the Honorable Premier and his team. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
There you. Yes.
Is that close to a Billy speech?
Yes. And I agree.
There's two other things I would like to read, but let me just jump in a moment and change gears slightly. Okay. I want to read something that ABER has a series of Instagram posts, and it's the Association of Bermuda Insurers and Reinsurers. Okay, so ABIC, Association of Bermuda International Companies, these are just insurers and reinsurers. Okay. And some of these posts came out the 20th of January, and 3 came out very recently, in February. I followed the timing very, I thought it was interesting.
Timing.
Yes. So let me just speak about Bermudian employment. So ABER and its member companies, the employment, 1,472 Bermudians, spouses of Bermudians, and PRC holders. There's been a 46% increase in Bermudian employment over the past 10 years. Nearly 70% of the full-time workforce is now Bermudian. Okay. There were 1,472 Bermudians. You know how many total employees?
How many?
2,121.
Okay.
Out of 2,121 total employees, 1,472 Bermudian.
Any CEOs?
Yes, I know 3 off the top of my head.
Okay.
So yes,
okay.
In 2024, it was a record Bermudian employment in ABER companies.
Yes.
And they contributed $1.2 billion to Bermuda's economy through payroll.
1 point what?
1.21 billion is the payroll in our international, in ABER companies, not the whole, just ABER.
My God.
And they did how ABER supported local services and spaces. I'll start with this number. ABER members spent $28.2 million in 2024 on travel and entertainment. So people coming in and going out, hotels, airfares, restaurants, let's go to dinner, let's go to lunch, taxis, and then catering for events.
Yes.
28 million in 1 year.
Wow.
Okay. They also gave or had nearly 100 paid internships for the summer. 100.
Well,
1.25 million in scholarships to Bermudian students. 7.3 million to charities. This is 1 year, see?
Wow.
1 year.
That's significant.
And in terms of that business fueling other businesses, 117.4 million on business services such as law firms, accounting firms, actuarial, IT, and other consulting. 117 million. 99.4 million on construction, real estate, housing, and office space. Okay?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to put it out there. That's ABER's, right? So
yes,
it's very, I hear the Cayman stuff.
Well, you know something? I like you. I like the fact that you brought that up. You know why? Because this is what we call balanced reporting. Okay?
It's being Bermudian.
Well,
no, what I'm saying, we get the over here, and then we get data, and then I appreciate what you just said.
No, and the reason why is I've never heard anything negative said about the show, but it's about the truth.
Yeah.
You know, like you say, it's being Bermudian. This is what it is.
And I think, listen to all of this. Like I said, there are 1,800 scholarships fueled by the government in Cayman. ABIC did 700. ABER just talked about its contributions.
And we do 71. The Bermuda government does 71. Guess what?
Yes, Willie.
How, hey, Bear, do they put it all in the paper and photo ops and...
Well, kind of, not kind of, yes. You have to look.
Yeah, okay.
It's. Can I move on?
You can.
I appreciate that, man.
Yes.
Thanks. The deputy premier then speaks. So when the minister who brought the bill,
Yes.
then a guy, Hugh, who was the opposition leader, got a little political. But then Seymour, we just heard, quoting the Bible, quoting bees, quoting ants.
I have a question for
Yeah,
you.
man.
You know my pet peeve. So is this the deputy leader, or is this the deputy premier? I don't know what the system is. They may have a deputy premier. I don't know.
On this one, Billy, I would almost pause and go get the paper in my bag and read it out for you, right? But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to.
I just.
No. I'm just. And I think you're right. But I'm just going to. A lot of people don't say that I have a big sermon of common sense. A lot of people don't think I have a big sermon.
Okay.
But I'm going to apply some common sense now.
Okay.
I believe I read something. Because this is a coalition government,
Yes.
and two parties each got 4.
Yes.
I think one party said you be premier, and the other party can be deputy premier.
Okay.
I think that person is the leader of their party,
Okay.
but our deputy premier in parliament.
Okay. Just that. Just that.
Yep.
So,
Got
we
you.
have a constitution, so
Yes,
I
we
don't
do.
know. No.
Indeed. Right. So I do want to read from the deputy premier, who is actually a minister, leader of a different party, right?
Right.
And he's also the minister of tourism and trade development.
Right.
Okay? Tourism and trade development. By the way, you like that fella? Say he's the voice of the voice and the face of the faceless.
I just he's on. I need to. That's Seymour?
Yeah.
Well, to meet Seymour.
I go on Facebook.
Yes.
Bring him in. All right. So this is Gary Rotti. He is the deputy premier and minister of tourism and trade. I rise not only as the Minister of Tourism and Trade Development, but as a Caymanian who deeply believes in the promise and potential of our people.
Yes.
I fully support the amendments before us today because I am deeply committed to ensuring that Cayman remains a place where Caymanians can build their lives, pursue meaningful careers, raise their families, and fully participate in the prosperity of their own country. Let me just pause one moment and say, I wanted to put this context here. These speeches are very patriotic and passionate.
Yes, they are.
Yes. I think it's some of the better prose I've written in terms of read in terms of parliamentary speeches. And I have read my share, okay? I mean, quite a few. And I think these are very, very good. But they're after the fact.
It's true.
As a Caymanian, if you ask me, would I love a speech like this after the fact, or a mumbling, incoherent speech that we don't need? Great, I'll take that. Okay, but when you listen to what I'm saying, where Caymanians can live, work, and
Yes.
let me just put our toe in a little bit of hot water here. This is the kind of thing that would have been said about black Bermudians in the mid-70s.
Yes.
Black Bermudians want to be able to afford to live here and earn their own home and da-da-da-da-da. They're talking about an entire nationality in that nation.
Right. Yes.
This is, I therefore welcome this debate as an opportunity to speak frankly about why I believe the amendments to this bill are critically important to our nation's future. Mr. Speaker, the impetus for reform is clear. Our labor market in particular needs to be rebalanced and focused so that Caymanians are not featured somewhere as part of the workforce, but as prioritized within it. Our systems and institutions have spent far too long focused on, can a Caymanian do the job, rather than questioning, are qualified Caymanians getting the job? You hear the subtle difference in...
Yes. Yes.
Okay? So that's, let's say someone not connected to Bermuda's IB industry, right? They would be, in their mind, they would think, well, can Bermudians do the jobs in IB?
Yes.
Right? Like, can they do, like, that would be the insecurity, right? Because it's big, bad IB.
Yes.
But if you're in IB, working there as a Bermudian, you know that Canadian, American, Japanese guy, German woman, there's nothing about their nationality that makes them better for the job.
That's true.
So they wouldn't think, can a Bermudian do the job? Their position, which is yours and mine,
yes,
are qualified Bermudians getting the highest jobs they can.
Yes.
If not, what's the ceiling about? And let me come smash it.
Yes.
I think that's where we are, right? It's straightforward.
Yeah,
it's not that deep. Or is it? Mr. Speaker, right. Our systems, I note, Mr. Speaker, I said qualified Caymanians because I'm not suggesting that Caymanians be hired if they're unqualified or unsuitable for a particular role. What I am suggesting and advocating for is that we do more holistically and deliberately to prepare our people to compete and succeed in their workforce. I got to pause. This probably get me in trouble. I don't understand how we reform in education. Our economy, the pillar is like the pillar, right?
Yes.
Tourism,
Yes.
5.4%
Yes.
to GDP. The pillar, and not one blessed private or public school thought we're going to create the one that puts the graduates best in financial services.
Yes.
I mean, summer camps might be, whatever it.
Yes.
Sorry, I got hyped up there. That's bad. This bill addresses that discrepancy. It restructures our systems, streamlines our data, and reflects the policy direction of this government, which is a policy that places Caymanians first in opportunities, in access, and in advancement. While I regard these amendments as being long overdue, the fact that this government has prioritized immigration reform highlights our willingness to tackle problems head-on and find solutions to the issues that have been plaguing this country for years, decades in some instances, sir. We are not a government that procrastinates, and I am proud of the fact you will not continue kicking this can down the road. Mr. Speaker, I want to make one thing clear, and I say this with honesty, warmth, and sincerity. These reforms are not about creating divisions between Caymanians and non-Caymanians. Many of us work with expats. Many of us are related to non-Caymanians. In my case, I have been married for 31 years to a wonderful woman who originally hailed from Texas. She was attending the University of Texas, and I was home. And I said, pack up your stuff. I can teach you everything you need to learn in life. There was laughter from the MPs.
Yes.
And then he said, she came, and this was to the question you asked me earlier. She came and finished her schooling at ICC, the ICCI, International College of the Cayman Islands. And she's probably one of the smartest women that I know. And not just because she married me. It's supposed to be a little joke.
Yeah, okay.
It goes without saying that the expat workforce in Cayman is valued and appreciated. Expat teachers taught me in school, and that was not an easy job. Doctors and nurses from many countries took care of my family, all your families. And when we were sick, expats also helped me raise and care for our children. They weren't, in quotes, domestics to us. They were part of the family and treated as such. You can come to my home. You can find a Christmas stocking with my helper's name on it, my family's name on it. You can find an Easter basket. When we go away, she gets a little gift bag. That's family. That's not just help. They helped us get to where we are today. So from a personal perspective and as a member of government, I can confidently say we are grateful for the talent and hard work that expats have instilled in our homes, our hospitals, our schools, as well as our financial services and tourism sectors. While that is true, it is equally true that our labor market has become tilted too far in one direction. So this bill is not about creating divisions. It is about rebalancing opportunity and placing Caymanians at the front of the line in their own country, not because of policy, but as a reflection of reality and sustainability. Mr. Speaker, sometimes Caymanians being qualified has not been enough. Our people are being passed over, even when they are competitive candidates. Yeah. And I hear these types of stories constantly from young people, mid-career professionals, and even experienced Caymanians in senior positions.
Yes.
This bill will help to correct injustice by ensuring that Caymanians are not left on the sidelines at the back of the queue or at the bottom of the ladder, but are considered first for employment opportunities. The new immigration amendments also strengthen enforcement, which is a vital component of this legislation. In many instances, the laws were in place, but enforcement was lacking. and eventually abuses were allowed to persist virtually unchecked. This bill contains mechanisms to strengthen enforcement and remove silos so that information can be shared openly and collaboratively between government ministries and departments. This will remove the rocks people used to hide behind to avoid detection when they were not in compliance with the law. Going forward, compliance will not be optional. Employers and employees will be held to account. And as I said before, the playing field will be leveled so that Caymanians will be considered first for job vacancies, allowing workforce planning to become strategic and national rather than reactive and fragmented. Mr. Speaker, I also welcome the renaming of this legislation as the Caymanian Protection Act, because Caymanians do need protecting from marginalization, tokenism, and the glass ceiling that too many of our people feel but cannot see. Hello. He then gives statistics. When the Caymanian Protection Law was first introduced in the early 1970s, our population was just 10,000. Yet Caymanians thrived and had great access to opportunities. In the time since that law was repealed, our population has ballooned, growing from 44,000 in 2003 to 88,000 by 2024. That's a 100% increase in just 2 decades. But opportunities for Caymanians have not kept pace. How many times have we heard our people complain that they applied for a job but never heard back? Or they had to train their supervisor or their manager?
Yes.
Or that a work permit was renewed instead of hiring a local?
You mean to say what's happening there too?
Mr. Speaker, there was a time when Caymanian families built this industry from the ground up. Tourism is talking about.
Yes.
I remember, as I'm sure many of you do, when Caymanian hospitality was not only legendary, it was our brand long before they started calling it Cayman Kind.
Yes.
Just a few weeks ago, in this honorable house, I made a history connection with all 19 members and how we got our start from tourism and helping grow what we enjoy today. Caymanians were hotel managers, dive masters, front office supervisors, restaurant owners, pilots, flight attendants. You name it, we did it. And we excelled at it too. Tourism was something our people owned and were proud of. Somewhere along the line that changed. Our economy grew stronger. Foreign labor became more accessible. Academic aspirations shifted. And tourism became something Caymanians stepped away from. And that hasn't been good for the industry. Our visitors constantly ask, where are the Caymanians? They crave a more authentic Caymanian experience, which means we need to get more serious about providing opportunities for Caymanians to work in the tourism industry where they can interact with visitors at every touch point. I was asked, you know what? I was asked time and time again, where are you from? Because we haven't heard anybody talk or sound like you. And I proudly say, I'm from a little place between Northwest Point and Spot Bay. I'm sorry. Remember when I went off about the Chamber of Commerce president talking about tourism, hospitality?
Yeah.
Did you just
Yes,
hear?
yes,
Do you hear what came in?
Yes. Yes.
My goal as Minister for Tourism is to restore Caymanian pride in tourism. But I can't just demand that Caymanians be hired and tick the box. I, along with my colleagues in government, have to prepare our people to compete and succeed. This is where the coordinated workforce database in the bill comes from, and he goes on to talk about that. And it talks about internships and things in the Ministry of Tourism. We are training our people to be more competitive. We are equipping them to be preferred. And this is the sentence that, let me just say, a few sentences, paragraphs, I read something. I'm about to read something that conflicts. It's the same speaker.
Right.
I think what he said above was incorrect from what I've been able to check. Really?
Yes.
Feel free to interrupt
Okay.
when I get to the word hotels.
Okay.
We are training our people to be more competitive. We are equipping them to be preferred. And one day, hopefully soon, I want to read headlines announcing the appointment of the first Caymanian general manager at one of our major hotels.
Mercy.
No Caymanian hotel manager. General manager. This is 2025. He's reading this. December.
Yeah.
That's when we will really know we are achieving what we set out to do and our efforts and investments are bearing fruit. It talks about new software to link up people looking for jobs with jobs, talking about the tourism industry. And this is one I want to bring up because a lot of Bermudians, at least I can't say a lot of Bermudians, but I got a lot of messages about similarities that people were hearing between Bermuda and Cayman. And I'm not,
Yeah.
I am really curious what you think about this one. So this is something I didn't really mention, but he goes into deep style here. Okay. Ultimately, he then talks about sham marriages. I can skip those, right? Or do you want me to? Ultimately, I'll tell you what. I'll just end off how he ends off.
Right.
Every sham marriage weakens confidence in our institutions and dishonors the legitimate foreign spouses who have built genuine family bonds, contributed meaningfully to our country, and respected our laws.
Yes.
Therefore, I stand 100% in agreement with strengthening the ability to investigate the fraudsters and prosecute those engaged in this practice. Government must take action to send a clear message that attaining RERC, residency rights, or Caymanian status, along with their associated benefits, must be earned honestly and not obtained through deception. Ultimately, Mr. Speaker, this is about ensuring that love, trust, and genuine partnership are at the heart of marriage in these islands. I will now turn my attention to term limits being introduced for the public sector.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Speaker, the goal for implementing term limits is not to abruptly displace hard-working expatriate workers, many of whom have served this country with dedication and professionalism for years. Rather, it is to ensure that our own people have a pathway into meaningful careers and senior positions within the civil service. Too often, Caymanians with ambition and talent have felt that upward mobility is limited because certain roles remain indefinitely out of reach due to expats being a permanent part of the structure. Term limits will help correct that imbalance by ensuring that public sector roles evolve over time, giving Caymanians the ability to become trained, qualified, and rise through the ranks. In my view, the introduction of term limits is about inclusion and not exclusion and represents a forward-thinking strategy that delivers benefits on both sides of the equation. On the one hand, it provides certainty and fairness to expatriate workers who will understand clearly the length of their service, helping them to plan accordingly. So remember, Billy, the Suriname company, and I said if it's 3 years, then, hey, you knew you were going to be there for 3 years. How you get lobby the MP for more than 3 years?
Yes.
So Brother Man here is saying that in the civil service, they are going to implement term limits such that you won't be able to work beyond the limit of your work permit. So if it's 2 years, 3 years, 18 months, in the civil service, that's it. There will be term limits. And I thought that was an interesting element. I'm thinking of some people, particularly really when you're dealing with the fishing cooperative who are dealing with government property and buildings.
Yes.
And that guy had no respect for Bermudian culture, for Bermudian history, traditions. I'm surprised that guy still, right? So that certainty for them. And so in our civil service, we have a lot of Bermudians in place, but we had a lot of non-Bermudians as well. The PIPA officer, I think, was for years, even though we've had a succession of Bermudian chief justices, we've had some police commissioners, we've had, like at that top level, we've had some very, but say registrar of company or civil head of civil service, they've been Bermudian. What are you about to say? Well, you look mischievous.
I am. No, it's a few things that I wanted to say. And,
okay.
I'm going to start with this one. Even when we look at governance, like from the governor, Governor General.
Yes.
I think we're ready for it. There are a lot of statesman type people in Bermuda now that we can actually put them to use for our benefit.
Yeah.
You understand? Instead of them staying home and watching, as not the world term, but Wheel of Fortune
Sure.
and what have you, they could be adding to the landscape of our country. You know?
Yep.
And it's the other thing I wanted to talk about is that I'm listening to you intently, and these guys making these fiery speeches, and I've been saying to myself, you know what they're doing? Maybe they know, maybe they don't know. And I when we talk, we always talk about this, and that's nation building.
Nation, you got it.
And what I see is if people have a part to play in their country, and let me tell you, that doesn't mean that I'm saying that they're unqualified to do it, but they are qualified individuals who can make changes in this country that is going to bring about nationhood. The whole exercise is worth it.
So, let me wind up, because so we've had Seymour. This deputy premier was Gary Rotty. And I'm going to read how he concludes.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, the proposed amendments to are not punitive, they are protective. The reforms touch on some of the most sensitive and important areas of life, including jobs, marriage, families, and the right to live and work in the Cayman Islands. I know some people have expressed concern that the passage of this bill may make the Cayman Islands appear less welcoming to the foreign workers and businesses. Mr. Speaker, I offer an alternative perspective in saying that true prosperity occurs when the local population is integrated, invested, and engaged in its own economy. Businesses do not thrive in a society where citizens feel excluded or marginalized.
Yes.
A labor market that sidelines Caymanians is not sustainable, not economically, not socially, and not morally. As I said earlier, and I repeat with the utmost sincerity and honesty, this government is not closing the door to expatriates. We welcome their contribution, their skills, and the diversity they bring to our workforce and to this country.
Yes.
These reforms are not about them and us. They are about leveling the playing field for Caymanians and restoring their sense of ownership, pride, and dignity in their own labor market. Mr. Speaker, I reiterate that I wholeheartedly support the reforms this bill is crafted to achieve. Even though some of the measures are long overdue, the time has finally come to take courageous, responsible action. I therefore urge every member of this honorable House to stand behind this bill, stand behind Caymanians, and establish this legislation which is fair, principled, and future-focused. By doing so, we will ensure that the Cayman Islands remains a land of opportunity for all those who choose to come here, but first and foremost, for all those who call it home, us Caymanians. Mr. Speaker, in closing, my campaign theme song was Get Up, Stand Up for Your Right. Today I stand strong for my fellow Caymanians and ask them once again to stand up for your rights and your future, because this is for you. Mr. Speaker, may God continue to bless our beloved Cayman Islands and those who live and work amongst us. Thank you very much for giving me the time. God bless. I'm just saying, man. There's one last speech that was given, but I think I want to skip it. All I want to do about it is to say that I may go back to it. Let's say I'm going to skip it for the moment.
Right.
The other thing I have here are excerpts from other MPs who spoke that I didn't read out their speeches, right? Because it was 2 days, a 2-day debate. And for our purpose on the show, you know, if we wanted to talk about it fully, I'd print the whole thing. But I think it's enough to show that there is a real life alternative, a real life country out there that did get it wrong.
Yes.
There is a real life country out there with sincere, committed MPs trying to get it right when it's been too late.
Yes.
We need to ensure that we don't end up there. Okay? So rather than continue on that path, and I'm going to read some of the highlights, I chose instead to read this. I have no idea who wrote this, but this was at the bottom of a Caymanian news website. And it was titled, Open Letter to Cayman's Voters. And it's dated the 9th of January, 2026. Okay? An open letter to Cayman's voters. And
I read that. Okay, go ahead. I'm
Okay.
excited. I'm excited. I'm
Okay.
excited. Go ahead.
Now, if anybody who listens to the show has thought that anything we've read so far is relative or relevant, I want you to listen to this letter to you, and I'll read it. It's not. I'm going to read it so it can be listened to, because, again, you can win points for prose. You
Yes.
can win points for political inspiration. All of that. But quite frankly, the damage is damage.
Yes.
You can't prose away damage. An open letter to Cayman's voters. I can't. The person is named Salty Sea Grape.
Salty. Okay.
Salty Sea Grape. They are a salty sea grape.
Okay.
You know, we have bay grapes.
Okay. Yes.
Our bay is by the water, right?
Yes.
They're a sea grape. Salty Sea Grape writes, I can't stay silent anymore. My country, the Cayman Islands, is being pulled apart. And at the root of it is not one policy, not one crisis, but a pattern of foolish governance, short-sighted decisions, political band-aids sold as solutions, promises designed to survive an election cycle, not a generation. The consequences of this are no longer theoretical. They are already shaping the country. The Cayman will still belong to Caymanians in any meaningful sense. And standing where we are today, I genuinely don't know what that future looks like. The new immigration reforms have ripped open a wound that has been festering for years. Instead of thoughtful, balanced policy, we are watching the social fabric of Cayman tear further apart. Caymanians on one side, expatriates on the other, pitted against each other in a way that feels increasingly irreparable. This is not accidental. This is not accidental. This is what happens when leadership avoids hard truths and chooses expediency over responsibility. Expediency
Yes.
over responsibility. As an educated, well-meaning Caymanian, I can no longer sit quietly while the loudest and often most ignorant voices dominate the narrative online and in public discourse. Comment sections have become breeding grounds for hatred, misinformation, and even outright racism. And while we scroll past in disgust, those voices are shaping perception, policy pressure, and ultimately outcomes. The educated Caymanians, the ones who understand nuance, history, economics, and consequence, have to speak up. Silence is no longer neutrality. It is surrender. For years, I've tried to build a roadmap in my own mind. Chicken or egg, education or immigration, cost of living or opportunity. And the uncomfortable truth I keep coming back to is this. The common denominator is political leadership. We can debate symptoms endlessly, but we cannot fix a system led by people who are not equipped intellectually, morally, or strategically to govern in a modern, global, fast-moving world. Cayman, my beautiful country, wake up. You cannot ask something old, outdated, and ill-prepared to control a world defined by complexity, technology, and rapid change. You cannot demand progress while voting for the same tired excuses of representatives that, let's get real, would not be employable anywhere else if they were not career politicians. And this is not about elitism, it's about competence. How can we ask for better outcomes when we accept leaders who cannot articulate policy clearly, who cannot communicate coherently, who cannot think beyond slogans and sound bites? Yes, we have had some dedicated and capable representatives over the years. That matters, and it should be acknowledged. But the reality is that those with the most power have too often been complete embarrassments, and we can only blame ourselves. We don't vote for new blood because they, in quotes, don't have the experience. But tell me this, how much of that old experience is even relevant in this day and age? How much of it has actually served us well? we need new ideas. We need non-biased representatives. We need representatives who actually be alive to reap what they sow and not just leave it as a whoops, I messed up, but I'll be dead soon anyway. After reading the countless hateful, even racist comments across several media platforms, I can only come to one conclusion. Encourage a new wave of leadership or accept the slow burn of defeat. Change starts in 2029. And it starts with Khamenei's understanding that long-term national interest must outweigh loyalty to familiar names and personalities, even when choosing differently feels uncomfortable. Sincerely, one pissed off Khameneian.
Yeah. Well, said it all, didn't he?
Well, she.
Oh, she.
Yeah, somehow it came up. But in any event, let me just say, again, we aren't there.
Right.
But if you ask me, what's the data showing? What path we're on? Strictly data. Leave aside promises and platforms, compliments and criticism.
Yes.
Leave it all to one side. The data shows the Bermudian birth rate isn't where it needs to be to sustain the population.
Yes.
The new entrants in the workforce are not Bermudian for the most part. And in 2013 and again in 2024,
yes,
the government did a survey on immigration showing we are suffering. We're in now year 12 of a brain drain.
Okay.
We cannot sustain this. So, my point is, if the birth rate is down,
right,
if people are emigrating out of Bermuda,
yes,
and the jobs aren't coming to Bermudians, what path could you possibly say we're on other than the Khameneian Expressway?
that would be right. Yeah.
Now, countering that, because there is some good news. In fact, there's a lot of good news.
Okay.
I think the ABEAR information
Yes.
about their contributions is really good news.
Yes.
I think the government is providing us with bad news. So when, for instance, I read out, I might have it with me. Let me see if I have it here. I didn't bring it directly, but Deloitte did a newsletter on the government's position paper retaining the local workforce. Remember that I was talking about that? And it was produced in 2024. And what it said was, well, one of the things here talks about, it says the position paper indicates that of the 32,000 Bermuda jobs reported in government employment survey in 2022, 75% were held by Bermudians, 23% by work permit holders, and 2% by holders of PRC. One of the key arguments within the position paper is that at 2%, more could and should be done to expand the number of PRCs in Bermuda. Again, to what number?
Yeah.
Okay. And of the 2%, is it only 2% working because the other 98% are so wealthy they don't have to work? No, I'm dead serious.
Yes,
Who becomes a PRC here?
Yeah.
It's not the person that's been at Mr. Chicken for 8 years.
Right. Got you.
So what I'm trying to get at is you wonder how it came and got there. You're looking for indicators here.
Yes.
A statement like more could and should be done to expand the numbers of PRC holders in Bermuda, not in the workforce. So what do you think that signal and what that policy creates in the immigration department?
Exactly.
The floodgate.
Yeah, everybody's going to
What happened came in between 2021 and 2022? I read that out, right?
What happened here?
We're emigrating,
Yes.
not having children, and the government
Yes.
wants to halve the eligibility requirement and criteria to become a permanent resident.
Yes.
What it came and tell you.
It was a disaster.
Yeah, and my little tiny analysis, so Caymanians who are listening, it's just me. Well, I'm a bit more than just me, but it's just me. And so I'm just saying, if it was a reaction to COVID, right, you can see a legitimate fear, but we read, right, the bee.
Yes.
They're facing extinction.
You know, I think COVID made it worse, but they were on that path anyway.
Well, everything I read, I can't find them. Okay, I tell you, boy, you don't. But you are one not. I'm sorry, really doesn't even know this, right? But just so you know, I brought with me 1, 2, 3, 5 or 6, right? Charts from Cayman.
Right.
Okay. From their Compendium of Statistics 2024.
Yeah.
You are by chingus.
Well, if we don't get the answers, how can we make decisions in our mind?
Okay. All right. So in 2016,
right,
their working age population was 50,000. Okay. I'll just use because So 50,000. At that point, Caymanians were 26.3 and non-Caymanians were 24.2.
Okay.
So about 2,000 difference, right? By the next year, there was what is almost exactly $4,000 person difference. So the Caymanians exceeded. They went up about 2,040.
Oh.
Non-Caymanians went up by less than 100, maybe 80.
Wow.
2018, Caymanians dropped. The workforce increased. The number of Caymanians dropped 200, but the amount of non-Caymanians went up 2,000.
Okay.
In 2019,
there we go.
There was a 600-person difference. Non-Caymanians, for the first time, were in the ascendancy. We're in the top. So in 2019, there were 29,359 Caymanians, and there were 29,903 non-Caymanians. So 600 more non-Caymanians than Caymanians. 2020, those non-Caymanians bolted. 4,000 of them left, and 200 Caymanians joined the workforce. So right here, to all your point, in 2020, there was the largest difference, well, since 2017. Okay, so there were 29,500 Caymanians. There were 25,000 non-Caymanians in 2020. 2021, this is the issue for them, right?
Yes.
2021 went up by 3,000, so from 25,000 to 28,000. Okay, from 2020 to 2021. However, from 2021 to 2022, 10,000. 10,000 Caymanians entered the workforce between 2021 and 2022. And 1,500 Caymanians. So 10,000 versus about 1,500. And at that point, between 2021 and 2024, the increase it's about 2,400 increase between 2022 and 2023, another 1,100 between 2023 and 2024. But that bump of 10,000 meant the Caymanians would never catch that number.
Yeah.
You can't. It's an artificial injection of labor. And so also as millennials, right? So basically, really, 2020, between 2021 and 2022, they added 10,000 non-Caymanians and and added, say, 1,500 Caymanians.
Okay.
I looked at the total employment, male and female, Caymanian, non-Caymanian, self-employed, all that. it's what you would expect, fairly close, 2,000 difference between male and female. And so I looked to see what were the occupations where they, and quite frankly, we can do that tomorrow, but I have that information here. Then there was another one I'll also deal with tomorrow. The newspaper site interviewed young Caymanians who chose not to return to Cayman. And so ultimately, the issue is we don't have to be afraid of the fishing and farming type threat,
right?
Because of the Cayman story. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Hi, I love your show and you educate me and all that, but I got one question I keep asking. When can we do something about all this? I don't want to have a picture 2034. I want to know what can we do now.
I must say,
these people coming. What can we do, man?
I have been talking about you a lot lately, so I keep asking people to get an answer, and I keep talking about you and your question. So I'm on the case. I have one idea, but I need them to make a decision. We then judicial review on that decision, and that's the beginning of the end. But I haven't worked that part out yet.
Okay.
All right. No problem. Take care.
Cool.
So really, I think the other thing you're going to say something.
No.
The thing to stress for me is that I think in the country, as I was saying, we would think of this as a racial issue. But imagine just being Caymanian is the issue, right? It's not that you're discriminated against racially. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Afternoon, Mr. Corey, Mr. Veal.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
I've got two questions. But first, let me say, in response to the senior citizen that called you last week, you said something just now about the young people, the Cayman young people. They were saying that their difficulties were the older people. That was me that made that statement, but the lady was complaining about. I'm 75 years old, but I look 40. Really, a lot of people mistake me for my age.
Okay.
But I read this passage from Scripture, so she didn't hear that part. and I say to people, God is no liar. He said in this part that the young people are saying they're not making progress because the older generation are impeding their progress.
Oh, right, the civil service, yes.
That's what's happening in Bermuda. And you just said it about the Caymanian youth, said the same thing. So I hope she's listening and understands this. This is the problem. It's a big problem for a lot of young people. Now, let me skip to my two questions I'd like for you to try to answer. When John Swan was the premier, he said he was going to break the glass ceiling for the young people, especially young black males. They were coming back to Bermuda in the 80s, highly qualified, and they were trying to get jobs in IB, and they couldn't. This is going on from way back then to even up to now. And just recently I found out, I think I mentioned it before, that some committee is supposed to be set up in Bermuda that's supposed to look at fair hiring practices in the IB system.
Yes.
I've forgotten the name of this committee. Are you familiar with that name and the company?
Believe it or not, I have something to read from them that I thought we might get to tomorrow.
Right. And
it's called ACRE.
And, this problem with black males, they hire women, black Bermudian women, but they wouldn't hire black Bermudian men. So I don't know if that has been corrected, because this committee was supposed to be looking into that and correcting it.
I have a lot of, that was one question, but I'll
Right. My second question would be, do you not see from what you said last week and this week about the Cayman Islands, and also when I was talking about the tape that Dr. Lou played?
Oh, right.
Commission. Talking about he talked about so many issues and problems that they're having with CARICOM. One of them that stood out was, he says, they're having an organizational deficit. And they let the Haitians in and found out when these Haitians came in, they took away the visas so they can come in. And a lot of them couldn't get jobs. They didn't have health. They would just walk in the street. So they put a block on it. Barbados has put a block on now allowing Haitians into their country because of a lot of the very problems that we were talking about, allowing these people into your country. They wouldn't have jobs. They wouldn't have qualifications. They wouldn't have health care. The criminal aspect, all types of problems, right? Now, my question again to you is, do you think that Bermuda can face the same problem as Cayman is having by allowing all these people in? And if you read, I would have to say, you would really have to listen to that tape from Barbados. That tape was an awakening with the problems that the side talks about. And that's why I said I went from being 100% against it to 500%. But you have to
I remember.
Yes.
And you will understand why I feel the way I feel. You have to listen to that tape.
Man, I understand why you feel. I completely 500% disagree with you. We can both do that. And there's no tape that's going to change my mind. There's nothing. Your rationale is so completely different from mine. We're not even having a debate.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
No. So what I'm getting at, right? What you're saying, for instance, their free movement. I'm not agreeing with free movement like that. I don't think anybody from any country should be in our country without having a means to serve themselves. But that's not about CARICOM. That's the standards that we have that we will still maintain. So I'm telling you, the amount of people from Asia that move around this country however they will, right? The impact of their culture on our fishing stocks, the effect of their culture on a lot of lifestyle choices they have, causes big problems here. Okay? The expat the International Business Expat is why we have shops open on a Sunday. We never wanted shops open on a Sunday because those Bermudians that work in their shops are entitled to a day of rest. That culture's come in, and now grocery stores open on Sundays. Most shops open on Sundays. Because of the pursuit of tourism, you will get a complaint if shops are not open on a Sunday. That's us chasing dollars. That's got nothing to do with Haitians or CARICOM or any other country. That's us.
I follow you.
So I'm just saying, man, there's no 400. There's nothing you're going to tell me about CARICOM that's going to impact me here. When I walk down the streets, people from Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, the whole other side of the world, and our tourists would expect a Caribbean accent, not some Asian accent. I went to a Jamaican shop today and was served by a Filipino. That's got nothing to do with CARICOM. That's about us and how our immigration goes and who we let in. So if DNC Grill, Jamaican Grill, Fishing Things wants a work permit, that person comes from Jamaica. They may be Chinese Jamaican. They may be whatever Jamaican, but they're coming from that culture because it matters for that restaurant. The same little trattoria.
Yeah, I follow where you're coming from.
So, Papa, that's what I'm just saying. I'm not up. I can't.
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, so I'm with you on the immigration thing.
Now, here's one other point that I like to raise.
Sure.
And then you can finish answering the question.
No problem.
But you were just reading a part with the gentleman in the house where he was talking about some issues and racism. Well, that part there brought back to me when the OBA wanted to have pathways to status, 6,000 people to have status, automatic. Majority of them are white.
Mm-hmm.
But the West Indian community agreed with it. And the word was that when they heard about it, they went and they asked the West Indian community committee people, did they agree with it? And they went silent. They would not answer. Moving forward, they had the pathway to status meetings at the Elliott School on Hermitage Road. I went to all those meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And the behavior of the West Indian community, the people that were there, was shocked me. They called the black Bermudians, they called us every name you could think on the board. They called us racist. They said we were discriminating against them, and they carried on bad.
Hold on. No, wait. Hold on. So far, But I'm listening to the names. So far, I haven't heard. Let me see if I got this right. Are you saying that they shouldn't have said we discriminate against them, or are you saying we don't discriminate against them?
I'm saying they said that we discriminate against
I
them,
know,
that
but
we
since
are
you
racist,
judge their
they
behavior,
call us racist,
I get
they
it.
call us racist.
I get it. I'm saying since you judge their behavior, I'm trying to figure out, are you saying that they don't get discriminated by us and therefore they shouldn't have behaved that way? Or are you saying they do get discriminated by us, but they still should not have behaved that way?
I don't discriminate against.
That's not my question. That's not about I. You talked about that community, and I'm asking you I wasn't at the meeting. Do you feel they get discriminated against?
I would say basically by the white community that over the years that told us not to associate with them.
Okay,
But
so hold on. No, I'm actually surprised. This is not you. Somebody slipped some of your coffee. You're swerving. You're normally a direct person, and I'm asked the same question now for the third. No. I didn't interrupt you. What I'm trying to get at here is the one thing that I do not do is judge people's behavior if I've not walked in that shoe. And if I'm at a meeting about immigration, talking about treatment of me or my people or whatever, I'm trying to figure out if you think I'm lying, in which case, by all means. But if you think I'm telling the truth, and this is why I think you know what I'm trying to do here, is why I'm saying this is not like you normally when you call. But I think you see what I'm doing here. I'm trying to identify whether you think there were liars, that they don't get discriminated against, and so they had no right to behave like that. They had no right to call us those names. Or are you saying they do? You do believe them, that they do get discriminated against. However, they still should not have behaved that way.
I can't answer all that.
I know you can't, but you can judge them. No. But you judge them.
What happened at that meeting? And
yes.
That's why I said I was shocked.
But I'm asking you if you believe them or not, and you won't answer me.
If I believe them?
Yes. That's the question I've been asking you now the fourth time.
Yes, I believe.
Okay, so then pause. So what I'm trying to say to you, yes, and what I'm saying is you are listen. What I'm trying to say to you is you believed people who said they've been discriminated against, but you wanted them to handle that discrimination a certain way. You wanted them to report that discrimination a certain way. No. I'm talking, mate. I have the button on this side of the phone. You know what I'm trying to get at. Right? And this is, you don't normally act like this. So I don't know what's going on. But what I'm trying to say to you is I am not the one who would judge anyone's behavior who has been discriminated against. They have done that to black people for years. And right now, FIFA, wait a minute. Look, FIFA,
I'm missing something here, what you're saying. You said they were discriminating. Who was discriminating against them?
I don't care. It's immigration, right? So we're talking about their nationality and our nationality. Whether it was Joe Blow on the street at 2 o'clock in the morning and they were all drunk, or if it was Mrs. Smith shouting at them from across the window, or if the cashier at Marketplace. I don't care. The reason I don't care is because I believe them, because I know my people. And I'm trying to say to you that if someone's been discriminated against, who are you to determine how they resolve or feel or handle that discrimination? And so that's why, and I have other callers and it's going for, and that's why, hold on, I heard what I'm trying to say to you. That's why my question was whether you believed them or not. And it took you 5 times to even give them that respect. And so I then was trying to squeeze the point that if you believe they had been discriminated against, did they have the right to behave the way they did? In your world, what I think I can put together from all of this is you didn't like that they were reacting to how they've been treated because you were one of the people who treated them that way. or because maybe it wasn't the people in the room who treated them that way, or maybe they should. Well, who are they to know that? What I'm trying to get at is you have no right. I tell you what, step on my toe and just think I'm going to say, excuse me, you're on my toe. I might, or I might just slap you right upside the head. The point is, you don't. Mate, no, they didn't. They are. You are. You are talking. Mate, this is the. Not, I'm actually glad we've had this call today. I've had you somewhere else. I now know you're not there. Let me help you out here. What you're calling their behavior as an action, I can't even got to say this to somebody of your age. It's a reaction to the discrimination that they were talking about. Hello, caller. Okay. Really, to answer the first question, I'm not. It's going for. I don't even want to risk it. You know what? Why not? Hello, caller. You on the air?
Oh, thank you. Finally, I get on this new hit show.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
It's Rolf Commission.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there was a Hall of Fame for Bermudian journalists, I think the top three for immediate entry would be Ira Phillips, Rick Richardson, and Ciola Wilson. Now, I heard a caller just a while ago. He actually, and I'm calling to give my condolences to our family, but that caller actually touched on a topic that was going to be the centerpiece of my comments today in relation to Ciola. First, let me just say this. Ciola was a type of journalist that could hold her own in any English-speaking place on the map, on the globe, as a journalist. Courageous, critical thinker. And when the light went on in my head about her, it was when I was back from the U.S. I had my father's car. And I drove into Hamilton. So going down Essex and Paget on the way to Hamilton, make the right turn. And as I'm going down, we get to the point between the gas station in Paget and Essex. On comes the voice of Ciola Wilson. This had to be about 78 or so. And, Corey, you may, as you often do, may have the exact date. She was talking about the maybe preliminary findings or the findings that were coming out of the Pitt Commission report. One of them in particular. That was that they had found that there was racial and gender bias in the hiring, particularly of black Bermudian men. What they'd done, according to Ciola, or the report, I should say, and related to Bermuda via Ciola, was informed that they had basically interviewed a number of human resource persons in Bermuda's business establishment. We didn't have an ID like we have today. We had some offshore companies, but not what we see today. So it was mainly what we call Bermudian businesses. Most of the human resource persons then, mid-late 70s, most of them I think were probably English expats. As long as they were in Haitian or Jamaican, maybe that's fine, right?
Yep, I hear you.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
So because that's normalized.
No,
they belong here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike you.
Yep.
You belong in England somewhere. Only and Mr. Ferguson, who I admire a lot. But anyway, stay on the point here. So they had interviewed these human resource persons because they had noticed this gender bias, this gender disparity and intersection with race in terms of hiring. Black women, but very little in terms of black men in these companies. And as the brother said, by that time you had this maybe second wave of young black men coming back from university, either the black colleges in the U.S. or some in other non-black colleges and universities in the U.S. First wave would have been probably Reggie Burroughs and Stanley Lowe. The second wave would have been most of those guys who are if still living, are in their maybe 60s and going into their 70s. And those are the persons that I think he was focusing on. Because it was, so they couldn't find what was the reason here. And I guess due to the trauma of the insurrection that took place in 1977, that's where I go. These human resource persons they interviewed at least were prepared at that point to be a little more honest and explain why they didn't hire. If they had a choice between white males and black females, or between black females and black males, they were inclined to hire the black females.
Mm-hmm.
More cooperative, not as aggressive. I mean, the stereotypes.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to go down the list.
Yep.
But it was Ciola's presentation of that damning fact that brought that story alive. And I never forgot it.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I think of her, I think of driving in my father's car when she made that. And because it was very relevant to my generation, especially. 1977, my generation, most of us would have been between 20 and 25, between 20 and 30. I knew men who had came back, had business degrees and the rest, and found that they couldn't get hired. They ended up doing construction or something like that before packing up and getting out of Dodge. So that was very enlightening on the part of Ciola. And throughout that next 10 years, when she was at her height of her powers, I should say, she really brought the type of gift to Bermuda that was sadly missing. In some ways, Bermuda was probably too small for her, but I don't want to say that. But I've said it, I know. But Bermuda, it was Bermuda's loss, and still is.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's gone too young, and even in her later years, when she kept up with the trends, and she started her own. What would you call it, Corey?
Bermuda Reel.
Blog?
Oh yeah. Well, she turned into a site after, but it was a blog and then she full on site, Bermuda Reel.
Oh, Bermuda Reel, that's right. So she's sorely missed, and I just want to give her my deep respect. I mean, her and I had some arguments, of course. It's kind of prickly, right? But
I was going to say, if you didn't, then she didn't like you. If you didn't have an argument, trust me, Ciola. I mean, I haven't talked about Ciola on the show because I'm still, to be honest, trying to get my head around it. She lives across the street from, like, literally
that's right.
45 seconds up from me. So I would see her often. And I'm still... I tried to watch Poverty in Paradise the other day. I remember she was involved in that, and I couldn't watch. I've been trying... So I kind of thank you for this call. I mean, there's no lights here, so we don't have any call ID or anything. We don't know. But I tend to sometimes need to be jarred out of my comfort zone. And this call has done that because you're forcing me to think of her and be an adult, right? And put on my big boy pants. When ever since, literally, I knew, I hate to put it this way, but, they were right at her. Anyway, I knew very, very early on. And I've just not, all the stuff's come across the phone, everything's come on, and I've just been quietly letting it go past. So I thank you for this because it is, I do need to, like I said, put on my big boy pants and acknowledge that Ciola is
so often in Bermuda, as you know, Corey, we don't give credit where credit is due.
No, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And that woman deserved the credit that I and others have given her, right? I mean, again, those 10 years of brilliance as a journalist, right? Joining the ranks of Ira Phillip.
That's
and some of you guys maybe because both are a little younger than me.
No, but when you said Ira Phillip,
I mean, at ZFB as not just a print journalist with the recorder, but then when he went over to ZFB to help that black-owned radio and television station. I mean, that was the other thing. So wasn't this guys who came back who were looking to get good jobs, who were qualified black men who should have gotten jobs in these executive levels, some of these businesses. It was also men who came back and were looking for capital to start businesses and the rest, like the guy who started ZFB and the rest. And they were not given the opportunities. And that has rippled through generations of black men in this country in ways that are deplorable.
So, right, I got it.
And now, lastly, if I may, Corey, the what was it? The comment was made about what was it now? we had a caller who called in. Oh, about what's happening in IB. Again, this is another big loss for Bermuda. IB has been around. Again, it's even tied in what I talked about a little while ago. It's been around for about 4 decades.
Yeah.
Post Reagan Thatcher, you had the tax treaty that was engineered that really took Bermuda as an offshore financial center, IB, to the next level. And to know that we're at this point now, they have a lot of Bermudians working in IB now, you know.
A lot.
They always, when they put out their stats, wait.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a box.
Yes, let's put the leaves over the hill, Billy. We just fell down the hill.
They have a lot of Bermudians. Matter of fact, they put out a stat. I think the chairman of, what's that called? That industry organization. Yeah, right?
Yep.
And wow, I mean, it's the largest single employer in Bermuda now, the most lucrative sector of Bermuda's employment sector, right? It surpassed the civil service employment levels maybe a year or two ago. Okay, so, you know, and when he put out those stats, as they always do, he talked about the number of Bermudians. Of course, he makes sure he sticks to that line, that narrative. Because the number of black Bermudians is still a significant minority. Maybe 400, maybe. And I've done tried to dig into my investigations around it. It's not as great as people think in terms of black employment, comparatively speaking, between white Bermudians and, of course, those who are foreign-born expats and the rest. And that's another indictment. And as you know,
you want the numbers?
The same issue, that black Bermudian males, it's gotten a little better of late, despite being still a significant minority. But you know, they were not a significant presence. They were like a sort of exotic species around there as well.
We did PR. No, we would go for PR, communications. Remember, all the black guys, every company had a black PR guy.
Exactly. And lastly, on that point, I've always said, right, both within the party, within the government, when I was an MP, even before I became when I was consultant to 2 premiers. We need to put in place, this over a span of 25 years, I've kept coming back to this issue, we need to put in place an affirmative action program, right? It needs to be codified under law. And that's what needs to happen. You know, it should have happened within the first 4 or 5 years of PLP taking over the government.
Yep.
And along with so many other things that are still outstanding. All right? But you pay a price for that.
Yes, exactly. Well, we see by not heavily intervening what happened in Cayman. So we've got choices, really. We know it now. You know, we've seen it. But go.
Before I go quickly, does Ciona have any relatives that's still alive? Is her mother still alive?
No, Mom passed. Her son, I think, was in England, but her mom and her brother, I think, passed. I haven't seen him recently.
Well, again, the condolences to her son, her grandson, right? It's a grandson.
Yeah.
And, of course, the father of the children, Brother Bell, and all the relatives up there. And that's a very special neighborhood. I got to give you guys some credit up there. It's produced some very significant leaders in our community in so many different ways. Okay? And thanks. Okay, Brother Ferguson, take care now.
You too.
All right.
As well.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.
All right. Take care.
Yes, sir.
So I have two things. One, what I need to do quickly, the caller right before there's called the Association for Corporate Racial Equality, ACRE.
Yes.
I actually have something I was going to read, but now it's 20 after, so I'll bring it in tomorrow. But it is the good news part.
Yes.
Okay. But to Ralph's question, here's the statistic, really. I just want to read this so I don't give it the wrong context. Let me just make sure I'm reading it from the right point. This is what I've done. I've taken an interview that was produced in a Bermuda ILS newsletter magazine. In fact, the magazine, the whole thrust was, and this is the question that these people are answering, why is diversity, equality, and inclusion so important to the Bermuda reinsurance industry? Okay, and this is some brilliant stuff. I want to read this one thing from Javon Williams. Diversity, together with the sponsorship and support of senior leadership, is vitally important and necessary for the success of businesses. Once an individual at any professional level receives that sponsor and support, it then becomes their responsibility to turn around and pay that forward. Otherwise, the benefits of the guidance and championship gained in their experience becomes a unicorn moment, an exception, as opposed to the standard. So he's saying that you actually need to nurture some of the young black folks who are in IB. And then when you get nurtured, you got to play it forward. Right? You don't pull up the ladder when you get up there. So then, this is the part to answer Rolf's question. I want to note a data point from the 2022 employment survey that underpins some of what we discussed earlier. While the majority of Bermudians are black, only 31 and 11% of employees in international business represent black women and black men.
Oh, wow.
So he's saying that to Rolf's NIB, only 31% of employees are black women and only 11% are black men. And he says that's absurd if you think about it. I don't want to really ruin this because we're going to do this properly. But he says this is a different Mr. Williams. There were two Mr. Williams in this comment. And I just want to read this one little sentence. When you contemplate that black Bermudian women make up the largest percentage of all degree holders in Bermuda, the question is that justifiable? Meaning 3%.
Yes.
It's not even 3. Okay? It's not. And so ACRE is the Association for Corporate Racial Equality, and they are, so this discussion here was of Kristen Beasley, Deshae Keynes, Tracy Gibbons, Lloyd Holder, Marlon Williams, Siobhan Williams, Suzanne Williams Charles, and it was moderated by Bill Zuhl, the former editor of the Royal Gazette.
Yes.
And I can tell you, if I was to read out stuff here, I don't know if I had to account for the gender. I don't think you'd know if you were talking about black or white Bermudians. So to the point about Cayman, watch this. Our industry does not reflect the diversity of our population. We ignore that at our peril because it is perpetuating the economic divide, and that is not sustainable. Someone else says, you shouldn't expect your workforce to look a certain thing if your community doesn't look that way. If I told you those were both two women who spoke, one was black, one was white, could you tell?
No.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we are being Bermudian. It's yeah, man. We're going to get there. All right, man, we got to run. So, everybody, thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time.
Yes.
Billy, you're going to come back, right?
Oh, I'll be here.
You sure? For sure? Like positive, definitely voted out?
Yes.
Okay, cool. We will be back, everyone, and have a good, safe evening. Stay warm.
Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now.